method of business would persist until the formation of the National Wrestling Alliance in 1948. The NWA as a central governing body, with its singular, undisputed world champion, would be absolute and undeniable. This control, combined with the expansion of the interstate highway system, and the inevitable popularity and availability of regional television, would usher in an era of wrestling that was defined by what would come to be known as the territory system. The territory system would dominate wrestling for nearly 4 decades, while the borders, authority, popularity, and obedience of individual NWA territories was in a near constant state of flux. To this day, the impact and influence of these territories is still felt. Each territory had its own signature promoter and star. While it is impossible to cram these characteristics into a static, concrete map, we are damn sure going to try anyway.
So open up your eyes, way before it gets too late. Now one man, there's no way you can hit the streetlights running, don't give a damn. A simple explanation that you'll never find. Sinners never sacrifice. We never leave love alone. Is hate really worth the price? Look at what we've done. Never care for compromise. Always threatening someone's life, and it feels like the end of the world.
All right, welcome to another week of This Week in Pro Wrestling with hosts Mike Monte and Jimmy Pharaoh. Thank you guys for joining us on this wonderful Friday before the weekend. I hope everybody had a wonderful Father's Day. Did you have a nice Father's Day on Sunday there, Mr. Pharaoh?
How about the Mets?
Well, I guess that's
Does that answer your
empathetic
question?
no.
Father's Day, never mind. Go on.
But,
I had a wonderful Father's Day. It was
There you
lovely.
go. And 4th of July
Bake
right
the
around the
cake,
corner.
Pet the cats.
Pharaoh and I are going to probably go to the beach, 4th of July,
That's gonna be
beaching it. Maybe it'll be some sharks. And
Some sharks.
swimming, and some kid will get eaten, and some mother will be walking around the beach looking for a kid.
Wow. It'd be cool if it wasn't boring. Okay. I could go with that.
What do you mean boring?
Well, usually you just sit there and go, oh, God, put your clothes back on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of rough. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I could take a little excitement, a little shark eating. Okay.
A little shark bite?
Yeah, a little shark bite. Never hurt anybody.
A little shark
Might
bite.
have killed them, but...
No, like the raft. Like
What the fuck are we
you
talking about?
we'll be drinking, and then some guy will be playing with his dog and throwing a stick in the water, and then the dog will disappear, and the guy will be looking for the dog.
Is there music?
There could be, yeah.
Rump, rump.
Yeah.
Rump, 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 rump. That would be fantastic.
And then we'll watch a kid get eaten by a shark, and we'll like be focused, and we'll like focus and.
Is Shark Boy the lifeguard? Oh, Shell, yeah.
Shark Boy was a wrestler, wasn't
Shark
it?
Boy's Stone Cold Delight. He does the Stone Cold
Oh,
thing.
that's that. I forgot about that.
Shell, yeah.
Guy.
Yeah. Oh,
Anyway,
yeah, for sure.
Dude.
Anyway.
Wednesday night.
Yeah.
When is enough in pro wrestling? Okay.
Oh, okay.
Christian invokes Jungle Boy's late dad, Luke Perry, in AEW promo. So, Wednesday night, Christian makes his little appearance.
Yeah.
And he throws a pretty vicious promo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he starts talking about the late actor's
Perry,
father,
man.
Luke Perry.
Wow.
We're all from 90210, whatever the hell it
Right,
was.
90210, as I used to call it.
Cage,
Yes.
who performed for years in the WWE as Christian, was in the ring with Tony Schiavone and AEW Dynamite on Wednesday when he made things very personal with 25-year-old whose real name is Jack Perry. During a previous week's episode, Cage told Jungle Boy's mom, Rachel Sharp, who was sitting in the front row, that she raised a piece of shit.
Very nice.
Okay?
Very nice.
Listen, I was the only giving Jungle Boy's mom a chance to apologize to me for giving birth to Jungle Boy, and she instead flipped me off, Cage says. But here's the thing. Here's why I think she's really mad. I think she saw her knight in shining armor go off into the sunset. I think she's a little sweet on Christian Cage, if you know what I mean. I think she wanted me to be Jungle Boy's father. And this is where I think it goes a little overboard.
You mean it hasn't yet?
And well, it
It
gets worse.
seems to already
And here's
be
the
doing.
thing. I know Jungle Boy
Oy.
looked at me like a father figure. He sure did. But here's the thing, Jungle Boy, I never wanted to be your father. I never wanted to be your father figure. You have a father, but your father is dead. And that's probably a good thing, Jungle Boy, because he's embarrassed and ashamed to see how you turned out. Well,
Shallow. For cheap heat, this is what you do. And if you think that they didn't know or weren't in on it, of course they were.
of course they're in on it, yeah.
Otherwise, right then and there, Perry is arrested for assault for trying to kill Christian. 'Cause
Right.
He's not Christian Cage. He's Christian.
Right.
I will always look at him as Christian. One of the funniest things, though, that I read on the internet after this whole spiel, Mike,
Right.
somebody wrote, "This is fantastic. Now Christian Cage can go on to become the #1 heel in this company." Anyone who plans on putting Christian Cage at this stage in his career at the #1 heel spot in that company might as well call TNA, because you're getting closer and closer to hanging out with them. What are you doing? This is going to be your new #1 heel? I think you might have wanted to work things out with MJF a little bit quicker. That's what I think. I'm laughing at this. I also think it's shallow as shit.
So you call it
and
the
every
cheap
time
heat?
they talk about Vince McMahon or how he writes his shit, this isn't shallow. This isn't like a low blow. You got to call it the same way.
Well, this is a true
ridiculous.
definition
Ridiculous.
of cheap heat.
Absolutely personified.
And again, when is enough enough? Like,
Oh, I think that's enough. Like when Paige brought up
yeah, you've brought
Ric
that numerous
Flair's
times.
dead child. It's just like, okay, come on. Who's buying into that? Yeah, man. No, I really feel the heat. No, I mean, what are you doing? You think wrestling fans can't tell the difference between, okay, this is good heat and what are you doing heat?
So MJF heat
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago when he did his little shtick.
Yeah, he's great.
Right? That was great.
He's great.
Didn't step over the line, didn't get
Although
too
he
personal,
has,
but didn't get
with
too
permission,
personal.
I'm sure, behind the scenes.
Well, where would you think at one point, like, can you remember something in particular that MJF really went
I would
over
have
the
to
line
think
with?
about it. I know that he's shot some pretty nasty bullets out of that gun of
Off the
his.
top of your head, I know you're
No,
putting you on the spot.
can't.
Give me 3 occasions where you felt wrestlers went way, or the script was well beyond where it should have went.
Well,
But you just mentioned Flair.
yeah, it was,
I know that
was-
one's bothered you for a long time.
That was way over the top. Oh boy, I would really have to think about that. I'm not sure. Who else has run their mouth to the point where I was like, I've seen things that made me want to turn it off. It might not have necessarily been. Look, the necrophilia thing. I will never let that go.
Right,
I almost stopped.
that's an
watching.
over- that's an
Katie
over-
Vick was the biggest overstepping of anyone's boundaries. Who's got some common sense? You don't air this crap.
Right.
I'm going to get in the coffin and have sex with a dead person? How the hell am I into this? That was the worst thing I've ever seen, dude. And wrestling was in a pretty hot time period back then. I almost stopped. The ultimate, whatever you want to call me, whatever.
That's yours.
I'm being stalked. I thought
You
I
must
had
have your GPS
Wow,
on.
this is great. And I talk shit about the shit I see on television. Anyway, my GPS is working now?
It seems like it
couldn't
could be the
find my
case.
way here with it. Hey, I give up.
So,
How you
is
doing
it all
down there?
worth it? We already knew AEW Rampage sunk to a record low rating last Friday.
What was the numbers, please?
It was in the
200s?
It was around 400,000. Don't hold me to it, but it was
Okay.
somewhere around. No, in fact, you're right. 292,000.
Dude, let me tell you.
You're right.
This is very, very poor. This is poor.
Oh, it's quickly dropping.
So when do you think they're going to have the balls to admit it and just pull this?
I don't think there's going to be balls to admit it. I think at some point.
When are they going to cancel the show?
Well, the question is, they're on TBS and TNT, correct?
Yes, correct.
Is there other programming that's better than wrestling right now for them? So that 292 on a Friday night might beat whatever they put on anyway.
You do realize that when CM Punk had his debut on Rampage, it drew over 1 million. 292,000 viewers. I think what we were trying to say even then was, yeah, you're good for the quick hit, or you're good for the sustainability. Well, apparently, Rampage has no sustainability.
Well, Wednesday night, with your cheap heat that we spoke about, AEW Dynamite drew its worst rating in its normal time slot in more than 1 year with a putrid 761,000 viewers for last night's Road Rager episode, down 19% from last week. Dynamite also drew 365,000 viewers in 18 to 49 demographic, which is way down.
Right.
Now, to be fair, they're up against the NHL,
Yeah.
right? Playoffs. Totally understand that.
Right.
But,
Which have not been particularly gripping, by the way. So I will go, ha. You guys are sliding anyway.
right?
Colorado.
We
was
spoke
killing
about the Wednesday Night
Tampa Bay.
Raw and NXT rebranding, and now it's a farm team.
Right.
NXT is getting closer to your main show.
Right. Yeah.
Very, very close.
How ironic is
With
that?
your main show has... Again, I
main
always
show.
felt there was no such thing as a Wednesday Night Raw, because how could you... Because how could you compare Chris Jericho,
Right.
John Moxley,
Right.
against...
the NXT up and comers.
Yeah, it's like, come on,
Right.
let's get
Kinda-
realistic here.
It was no victory, you know. I mean, and Vince hasn't changed really how he looks at NXT. It's a training ground, you know. Dynamite is not a training ground. Dynamite's supposed to be the big,
This
big
is
mighty show.
AEW's second lowest rating in its history. April 7th, 2021, it drew
Interesting.
688 viewers.
Do you think that they might need to make up with MJF ASAP?
And that's what's going to get it. It's going to get him 1 million, you think?
No. I'm just trying to tell him.
So,
how
Christian Cage...
But I'll tell you who's going to add another two. Okay, I'll say 250,000, like, you know, in the initial jump, and then he'll probably add thousands of fans. This is when MJF goes to work for the right company.
Well, let me ask you this.
He'll be fine.
Is AEW... So, Tony Khan, who's always trying to listen to his marquee audience, the Christian Cage promo probably should have been meant for an MJF.
Right.
The problem is, no one cared about Christian Cage when he was in the WWF, not when he went over to TNA there,
Right.
and no one cares about him now.
Right.
Christian Cage, or Christian, has been nothing but a bit player in So all the wrestling pros could talk about what a great worker he is, what a great storyline thinker
We
he
all
is.
know he's a great worker.
He might be
He
a great
is.
trainer.
He's
okay?
a good talker.
But he's not
He's
a
fine.
star.
He was Edge's partner.
He was Robin.
Right. Bingo. Holy sidekick, Batman.
So
That's what he was.
So you go as low as you can, and you got nothing from it.
Fair. Fair. It is what it is.
Are the Sharks smelling blood now?
The Sharks have already eaten a portion of it. They're going to eat more.
Does AEW have a chance of being shut down?
Through stubbornness.
Because they lose their contract, it's over, right?
Through stubbornness, not until their contract is taken from them.
Remember something,
keep going.
TV's not like anything else.
Right.
They'll just say, okay, we'll pay you for the
Right.
remaining 4 years. Here you go.
Right.
Your contract is now over.
Right.
We're no longer doing your programming.
Right.
And if you don't have that program, let's be honest, AEW is more of a television show than the WWE.
Absolutely.
They don't do
In many
house
ways,
shows.
yes.
They don't do any of that stuff.
Right. They
Right?
do very few compared to Vince's. He always got them on the road working. This is true. Well, you know, once again, they're up against the machine. We always call our boys the machine. They're a machine.
But going back to
There's
the
a
original
reason for
point,
that.
did he just go overboard with a stupid bit and
Yeah,
it
I
did
think so.
nothing?
I think so. All it did was make me go, what the hell are you doing?
And it's
And am I tuning in next week to see Jungle Boy's reaction?
because he's going to be mad?
I'm more excited, looking forward to the Maiden concert coming in October.
There you go.
So I could care less.
There you go.
know? I mean, was this supposed to put Jungle Boy over? Because I know that they got to make their own stars.
They're trying.
They try.
The problem is, as great as I like Jungle Boy,
Right.
he's 140 pounds.
Right. Right.
That in itself, over.
Yeah. And doesn't look like Finn Balor either.
No,
He's
he
like-
doesn't.
I mean, come on.
He doesn't.
Let's be real here.
AEW is a small man's wrestling clinic.
Right.
And it's
It is.
it's your niche audience, which
There are
is a
some
bunch of
things I
young
like, and
20 to 30 year
most
olds
of it is
who
very
want to
overrated.
be anti-establishment.
With all the whining.
And the reality of it,
Yeah.
you can't depend on the people that have no money because they
Right.
have no money.
Right.
So
And they
guess
don't
what?
even have the brains to put over the guys the correct way. Like, you know, Lance Archer was recently in the ring with
Oh, they
some...
destroyed that guy, dude.
He's in the ring with a guy that he beat for the United States title over in New Japan. They don't make one mention of it. And then they scrub him.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the... And Lance Archer should not be scrubbed.
Lance Archer is
He's
good WWE material.
Oh, he's a shit kicker.
Yeah.
I could see him coming in and hurting people.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's like, what are you doing with this guy?
I totally agree with you 100%.
But whatever you do, though, keep putting Danhausen over.
That's important.
Want a potato chip?
Please.
Good stuff, man.
Booker T,
Salt and vinegar.
Booker T clarifies comments about Sasha Banks and AEW. I'm thinking with
Sucker!
Sasha, it's not going to be all about the match, Booker stated. It's about the star power.
Right.
It's a lot of women where she can go in the ring and wrestle and have great matches. You know what I mean. But I'm talking about star power.
Right.
I say empathetically, I never advised Sasha to not going to AEW, Booker continued. That's her choice.
Right. Yeah, well, he's right when he's looking for. Look, if she wants to be, boy, oh boy, I'm going to quote somebody who used to drive me nuts years ago, but he was right about this.
Well, if she wants to be the biggest fish in a little pond, let her go.
Let it go. Go ahead, be the big fish in the little.
You said it
pond.
last week. She's not a needle mover. As great as
She's
she
not.
is and as popular, she's very popular.
Of course she
In
is.
fact, she would end up being probably
We're both fans of hers.
She might be the most popular
Believe it or
wrestler on AEW's roster if she goes to them.
So what? What does it mean?
It's not gonna. It's
It
not gonna
doesn't
move
mean
the
anything.
needle.
Who's their Goldberg? Who's their guy to cause a true ratings war? Who's their Goldberg? They got a Goldberg?
Not
There's
Sasha
somebody
Banks.
over there that's as encapsulating as Goldberg
Not
was in
Sasha
1998 in WCW?
And remember something.
Who's their homegrown Sting? Do they got one?
Nope.
What are they-
MJF.
Yeah, but they're fucking him up, and he's gonna wind up with us, and he's gonna make his time in AEW.
I love when you use the word us because it is us.
It is. He's gonna make his time in AEW after him and Vince get on the same page and they're working together. That's gonna be a tiny little footnote.
If Sasha
By the
goes to
time he gets
AEW,
done.
which would be, God knows what they should demand for them to sign her. And Tony Khan will just pawn over Daddy's
What is she
money.
worth to you? What would you give her? But then again, that might not be fair because I know you probably haven't studied all the analytics for the women's wrestlers and how much to be
I
paid
will
in the
say
companies
this:
and all that other shit.
if you have a choice of free agents,
She a
and Bray
millionaire?
Wyatt's
Yeah.
out there, Bray Wyatt's out there, Sasha Banks is out
Bray
there,
Wyatt, Sasha
Naomi's out there.
Okay.
Name us some other free agents that might be out there. The fact of the matter is, I would tell you if I had to choose someone for AEW, that's the one I would pay.
Sasha Banks.
I would pay Sasha Banks.
Very
Here's the
interesting.
issue:
Interesting.
who does Sasha wrestle?
Yeah, who is she wrestling?
Nobody. No one is at her level.
No one is.
They can't. That's like
What do you
Charlotte
go-
going there.
what-
Charlotte cannot go there.
What if they hooked her up with like a turn for Jade Cargill? They're both heels and they run
Jay
together.
Cargill's terrible. Terrible wrestler.
So she'd have to carry her.
Terrible wrestler.
Maybe she could be her muscle.
Who's her enemy? Look, dude, this
I'm
is the
just
life
trying
of
to come up
wrestling.
with something.
You have to have an enemy that can
Right.
compete with you.
Yeah, who is
There
competing
is
with
no
her?
woman
Britt
enemy.
Baker, Sasha Banks?
Britt Baker's not that good of a wrestler.
That's true.
Sasha Banks is a high-level wrestler.
Yeah, she is a high-level wrestler. When she's not breaking her own neck, being so
Well,
reckless.
this is true, but
She's kind of like danger-prone. She's danger-prone Daphne from Scooby-Doo.
a little bit. A
Yeah,
little bit. WWE lost $500 million in value since Vince McMahon's probe, but ratings have jumped. It was a good week after all. The Raw ratings were way up, and SmackDown ratings were way up, but the stock has gone down.
Okay.
Thoughts on that?
I'm not surprised that the stock went down, but
Stock's going down everywhere.
right, stock is going
So
down.
we want to blame it
everywhere.
on this. Go
And if
ahead.
you think that it's not going to recover, we're not going to have a WrestleMania 67?
Isn't it
Of
amazing?
course we are. As
Isn't
long
it-
as the world doesn't explode, I think we're going to be around for a while.
Isn't it amazing that Vince
Yeah.
is a needle mover?
Of course, Vince is a needle mover.
Still at this day.
Let's hammer it. Let's hammer it home how much Vince McMahon means to us. Vince McMahon, I'm sorry, Vince McMahon, I shouldn't have disrespected you like that. Mr. McMahon is the greatest heel in the history of this business. And him making an appearance as Mr. McMahon, sure as shit will move the needle. He's Mr. McMahon.
With that, you've been watching This Week in Wrestling. Enjoy SmackDown. Enjoy Rampage. And we'll see you next Thursday.
You're hired. Till next week. Later.